Hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Garrett Bake, your situational expert, giving you the tools, tactics, and techniques that you will need to have it all. I am also the creator of Warrior Guardian and the Daily Armor podcast. Subscribe. We are all over the place. That is correct. Today's topic, motivation is a lie. Sit back and relax. Here we go. So I want you to think about something. When you think of motivational quotes, who do you think of? Maybe Tony Robbins, maybe Les Brown, Brendon Burchard, Tim Ferriss. I could keep going about all these people, right? Why? Because these motivational quotes exist everywhere. All you have to do is Google motivation and you will literally see billions of hits. As long as there's a buck to make, there will be shirts, pictures, and posters filled with inspiring quotes. Just the way the game is played. But guess what? Gangsters also have their own little quotes. That's right, gangsters. So one night, a patrol officer was riding his bike through one of our little local shady neighborhoods, just kind of patrolling around, seeing what was going on. As he did, he came across a certain individual. This individual was dressed all in red. Yes, another easily identifiable target. This bike officer was having a conversation with him, and this particular individual starts to ask him about his vest. This is not a normal course of conversation, so the officer asks this individual, "Why are you asking me?" And the gangster proceeds to tell him, "So I know whether to shoot you in the vest or in the head." He then throws up his American Sign Language, aka gang sign, and then runs back into his house. Well, this officer proceeded to tell his local friendly gang unit, and I was a part of that gang unit at the time. Of course, we don't take these things very lightly, so we proceeded to drive out to the area and see what we could find. Of course, we weren't able to find him, but with what the information that we had gathered, we were able to write a search warrant on his residence. Not necessarily for him, but for the things that he may have inside. Once the warrant was signed, our SWAT team came in and did what they do, right? We set off a few flashbangs, scared the whole neighborhood. He finally came out, scared as can be, shaking like a tree because all his little words had come back to him. Well, while searching his residence, right, looking for gang indicia or things that would associate him with a particular gang that he had mentioned earlier, we saw a hat hanging from a hook on the wall in his room. The writing on the hat said, "Break bread or fake dead." I laughed. Why? Because this 18-year-old kid had channeled his inner Tony Robbins. This was his way of saying you're either with me or you're against me. In gangster terms, of course. Because the hat was red and we were seasoned gang indicia, so we took it with us. When interviewing this little 18-year-old kid, right, it was obvious that he was scared shitless. The motivational quotes about being a tough gangster didn't matter anymore. Here's the thing. You and I are the same. We like to see motivational quotes. We like to read inspiring stories. If you look for it, you will find motivation everywhere. I could tell you a story about the ants outside and somehow twist it into a motivational story. Or the bird flying overhead. Or your car. Like, it doesn't matter. I can mold a motivational story out of it. The thing is, there's motivation to do something and there's also motivation not to do something. I could take those same stories and put a negative spin on them, and there is no motivation. So the question then becomes, which one are you listening to? I want you to think about this. Somewhere in your core 4, your relationship with your body, your being, your balance, your business, somewhere in this, you have been stuck in the motivation circle. What is the motivation circle? The motivation circle is real simple. It's getting hyped up about something, but not really doing anything about it. Now, I'm not going to knock Tony Robbins, but I'm going to tell you my personal story about Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has helped millions of people. He's a very inspirational man. His story, you should go and watch one of his videos just to hear his personal story. Very inspiring. Very cool. My wife and I went to Tony Robbins last year. Why? Because we wanted to do something together, and it was before we really knew up from down or anything else, and we're like, hey, let's go to Tony Robbins. So we invested in Tony Robbins, got some really good seats. I paid basically to have Tony Robbins spit on me. Like, that's how close I was. So, for whatever that's worth. Now, during Tony Robbins' event, which lasted 4 days, during this event, this 4-day event, we heard from a ton of people. I took a bunch of notes. Like, it was a lot of clapping, a lot of rah-rah, a lot of music. And then we came home, and there was no rah-rah, and there was no lot of people, and there was no clapping, and there was no lot of music. And then it suddenly became, what do we do now? And so my wife and I, literally struggled with this, trying to figure out, well, what do we do now? And it's funny, because if you think about this, Tony Robbins, inspiring, motivational, all these things that Tony Robbins does, what did we get out of Tony Robbins? This is what we got. Let's try the vegan diet for a month and see what happens. That's what we got out of it. So we spent all these thousands of dollars to go to Tony Robbins, and that's what we got out of it. See, because motivation is bullshit. It is total bullshit. Because nobody can inspire you to want to do what you need to do. They might give you a little push or a little guidance, but at the end of it all, it comes from you. So I want you to write something down. How would your life change if you were actually to start doing what you said you were going to do? Like your son that you say, I'll play with you when I get home from school, but you're always sitting on the couch watching ESPN or playing Xbox. What if you actually got home and played with him? What if you actually got up early and went to the gym instead of talking about it? What if you actually took your wife on a date instead of just telling her how much you love her? Show me, don't tell me. See, there's two types of people in this world, the doers and the talkers. Which one are you? A very legitimate question. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. I need you to do a couple things. One, like and share this, and subscribe. Don't forget to leave your comments, because I love your comments. I need you to go to Facebook and Instagram. Follow us at Warrior Guardian. We got some really cool stuff going on over there. And last but not least, stay safe. And we'll see you on the next.